Calling meeting to order. Roll call, please.
I can't hear the video.
President Dr. Rios.
Present.
Vice President Mendoza.
Present.
Board Clerk Yu. Board Member Dr. Apodaca.
Here.
Board Member La.
Here.
Board Member Nishi.
Present.
Board Member Say.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, this evening we will be discussing the following items in closed session: anticipated litigation, conference with legal counsel, possible exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, D2, 4 cases of alleged discrimination in pay. Any public comments on closed session items? Our clerk is not here, but does anybody know if we have any comments?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay, at this time, we will move to closed session. May I have a motion?
So move Mendoza.
Ernie, second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, at this time, we will move to closed session. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and call meeting back in session. Can I have a motion, please?
So move.
Second Mendoza.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Apodaca.
Here.
Mr. La. Mrs. Mendoza.
Present.
Mr. Nishi.
Here.
Dr. Rios.
Present.
Mrs. Say.
Present.
Mrs. Yu.
Present.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. We welcome public comments. Comments submitted will be presented during the public comment section, which is limited to 1 hour, and each speaker to 1 presentation of 5 minutes, unless the board wishes to waive the time limit. Those who have a group concern are encouraged to select a spokesperson to address the board. Comments submitted regarding a specific agenda item will be presented following the staff comments and prior to the board's discussion or taking action. Tonight in closed session, the board discussed anticipated litigation, conference with legal counsel, possible exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, D2, 4 cases of alleged discrimination in pay. At this time, can I have Board Member Nishii lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Okay. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the agenda for the regular meeting of October 6, 2020?
So move Mendoza.
Second by Sophia.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Apodaca.
Yes.
Mr. La.
Yes.
You, Mrs. Mendoza.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Nishi.
Yes.
Dr. Rios.
Yes.
Mrs. Say.
Yes.
Mrs. Yu.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of September 22nd, 2020?
So move Mendoza.
Second by Sophia.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Apodaca.
Yes.
Mr. La. Mrs. Mendoza.
Yes.
Mr. Nishi.
Yes.
Dr. Rios.
Yes.
Mrs. Say.
Yes.
Mrs. Yu.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Yes. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call on Matthew Loarca and Yvette Rodriguez from Tracy High School to do their student board representatives.
Hi, hello. My name is Matthew Lawarco.
Hello.
And I'm Yvette Rodriguez.
Right.
Hello.
And do we have permission to begin?
Yes, please.
All right. In that case, good evening, board members, President Rios, Vice President Mendoza, Clerk Yu, distinguished members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Mary Sue, and cabinet members. My name is Matthew Lawarca, and my co-student representative is Yvette Rodriguez. We are thrilled and honored to be here with you this evening to represent Tracy High School and provide you with an update on what is happening at our school during these unprecedented times. I will now turn it over to Yvette Rodriguez.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Yvette Rodriguez. Like all students in ABC, Tracy students are now attending classes from home in the virtual learning program. Students are enrolled in a minimum of 3 daily 65-minute classes on a block schedule. The classes meet twice weekly, periods 1, 3, 5, and 7 on Monday and Thursdays, and periods 2, 4, 6, and 8 on Tuesdays and Fridays. All students must be enrolled in at least 3 classes per day, but since Tracy is a credit recovery continuation school, some students are enrolled in 4 classes per day, which can be quite challenging. Wednesdays is the asynchronous day where students attend their homeroom, watch the KTHS morning news and any special announcements, attend tutoring classes if needed, and work independently on their class assignments.
Tracy's first ever virtual back to school night was held last Thursday evening. Tracy teachers prepared an individual class presentations that were presented live to parents, students. Though unfortunately we had some bad luck that night as the entire Google Meet system went down, interrupting teacher presentations and all of the teacher Google Meets that were currently underway. It took approximately 20 minutes for the system to come back up, but many of the parents had left and only a few were able to return for the remaining presentation. All part of the abnormal times, I guess. But we're all very proud of the effort put forth by the Tracy teachers and staff to present a quality virtual back to school night.
Tracy has a new science teacher. We welcome Mr. William Mead, who will teach biology and chemistry classes. Mr. Mead comes to Tracy from Ross Middle School, where he spent 19 years teaching 8th grade science. His reputation of being a teacher who makes science fun and exciting, with the emphasis on using technology and hands-on project, will be well received by Tracy students. From a Falcon to a Saint, welcome Mr. Mead.
Also new this year is Social Hour, created by mental health counselor Ms. Linda Gomez and intern Stephanie Gomez Manuelos. Social Hour is held each Wednesday morning at 11 o'clock a.m. and provides Tracy students a place to visit virtually, share stories and conversation, play a variety of games, and just enjoy some online.
Tracy is determined to normalize the abnormal whenever possible, and this can be seen with our continued positive student recognition. Monday, which recognizes students for perfect attendance, has temporarily been changed to Money Wednesdays since we now have our attendance homeroom on Wednesdays during virtual learning. Also continuing our Saint Spotlight and Student of the Month. All of our student recognition programs are shared with our staffs and students through the KTHS Morning News, weekly broadcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Ms. Rebecca, Tracy's school librarian, continues with her weekly breakfast club where students submit a short summary and screenshot of their reading for the week. Medical careers teacher, Ms. Calderon, holds Tracy Red Cross meetings each Wednesdays afternoon.
Principal Mr. Brown has formed a COVID-19 compliance team that meets regularly in preparation for when students and staff will return to the Tracy campus. All health and safety guidelines will be implemented and followed for the safety of everyone. A few things that we will see consistently are temperature check, physical distancing requirements, mask wearing, and a one-way directional foot traffic. Numerous hand sanitizers and a large outside hand washing station have already been installed on campus. Mr. Brown was also able to secure 8 brand new 8x12 Easy Ups that will be permanently installed in Tracy's quad to provide shade for students.
On a sad note, Dean of Student Richard Velasco, who arrived at Tracy for 2 years ago, is no longer with us as he was transferred to Nemis Elementary School. We will miss Mr. Velasco and wish him the best and hope he can one day return to Tracy.
That's our report for this evening. While we're all anxiously awaiting the call to return to campus, Tracy students know that it is important to stay disciplined during virtual learning and do the best we can to keep moving forward with our education. Thank you all for allowing us to share what's happening at Tracy High School. And as always, go Saints.
Thank you so much, Yvette and Matthew. And that was great advice you're sharing with any students that may be out there. Thank you so much. And we wish you success throughout the year.
Madam President, if you would allow us each a quick minute to share something personal with you and the board.
Yes.
All right, in that case, I'll begin. I wanted to introduce my coming to Tracy. Prior to arriving at Tracy, I attended Cerritos High School. And upon arriving to Tracy, I can definitely tell you that I felt as though I was defeated. I felt as though I was practically kicked out of my home school, and I was definitely very biased. I had the stigmatism in my head of all the rumors that had gone around about Tracy, and I was under the impression that going here would definitely lower me in every way possible. Though being there, I found out that I've easily, or not even easily, but more so Tracy has shown me that it is possible for students such as myself to climb the ranks. I didn't think it was possible, but I've achieved more here than I have at Cerritos. I was the vice president of a club, and currently I dropped that position to be an anchor on the KPHS morning news broadcast. I am one of the leading anchors, and I couldn't be more excited for what it is that Tracy has allowed me and given me. Aside from that, I've also been given this position. I'm extremely thankful, and it is a privilege to be here.
Madam President, may I say something?
I think Yvette going to speak, and then maybe we'll have a quick minute for Vice President Mendoza.
Go ahead, Yvette, go ahead.
Yvette, were you going to say something, or just Matthew?
No, I was going to say something as well.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Well, unlike Matthew, I came from Artesia, and of course, Artesia is a really great school, but I was flunking all my classes, which is my fault personally, but I did hear some rumors about Tracy and how Tracy might not have been a good school, but going there was like the best decision of my life. I'm personally taking college course classes at Tracy, which I personally don't think that I would have been taking at Artesia if it wasn't for the teachers at Tracy who motivated me to do so. So I thank all the Tracy teachers for not only giving me confidence, but also making me believe in myself that I can do more than just sitting at home and not doing anything. So I thank them.
Well, thank you. Thank you for reminding us that that's why we're here, right? So that we can see our schools get our students to reach their highest potential. Hey, Board Member Mendoza, Vice President Mendoza, did you want to say something?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Matthew and Yvette, for being here. I really enjoyed your report. There was something that really stuck out to me. The word normalize the abnormal. And I think you guys are doing an amazing job. I was listening to Matthew and I thought I was listening to like Channel 7 reporting because he's doing such a great job. But you guys are really making the best out of, not a normal situation. And there's changes, but I think you guys are doing an amazing job, and you guys have I think you found your home where you can really, like Dr. Rio said, that you can thrive. So thank you so much. And I hope we get to hear from you soon again. Thank you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you, guys.
And we tend to have
Madam
very long
President,
meetings, so at
I was
this
going to
time,
ask
you are
one.
dismissed.
Sorry.
Board Member Yu, did you want to speak?
Yeah. To Matthew and Yvette, it's so inspiring to hear those stories because how you take ownership, not blaming the school like Artesia High and Cerritos High, but just your maturity. And Tracy was the right school for you, and I really, really hope that you guys keep up and be successful and pursue your dream because you guys both have so much potential. And Matthew, goodness, you spoke so eloquently with confidence. I mean, you have a bright future ahead of you, and I just hope you keep it up. And I do want to commend you that, you know, in the future, there are many students who doesn't really fit in normal high school. They could thrive in a smaller community and a caring community. And I'm so thankful that you guys are just share from your heart to really advocate, you know, for Tracy High School, because that would be such a great opportunity for, you know, several other students out there. And I hope that when they come to Tracy, you can receive them with warm reception and help them to find their place and accept it, because that's what we need. You know, everyone is just so many that are lost out there. So I want to again commend your principal and the leadership at Tracy, all the teachers. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And again, our meeting's set to go along. So at this time, you're welcome to join us, or you are, yeah, thank you again. Okay, at this time, we'll move on. Superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, President Rios. I do want to also commend both Matthew as well as Yvette for the wonderful report that we just received. Good evening, everyone. On September the 25th, there was an update to the Blueprint for a Safer Economy. It describes the tier framework that each county must meet. The indicators include disease burden, testing, and health equity. It states how a county can move through the 4 tiers. Schools and counties within tier 1, which is the purple tier, are not permitted to reopen for in-person instruction. ABC Unified School District is located in Los Angeles County and is in tier 1, which is the purple tier. This blueprint for a safer economy is updated regularly. A bid to make a 1-semester ethnic studies course in high schools as a high school graduation requirement was vetoed last week by Governor Gavin Newsom. He stated that there is ongoing controversy over the appropriate curriculum in his message on the legislation. He signed a separate bill last month making ethnic studies a graduation requirement for all the undergraduates in the California State University system. He indicated that there was still uncertainty about what content should be included in a K-12 ethnic studies course. He will again review it in 2021. On September the 30th, I was with almost 60 administrators in ABC School District in reviewing the new Title XIX and process for K-12 districts. The 3 hours workshop was provided by our legal counsel, AALRR, and presented by Erin O'Donnell and Sharon Ormond. The workshop focused on sexual harassment. The new Title IX team needs to include a Title IX coordinator, an investigator, a decision maker, an appeal officer, and an informal resolution process facilitator. We are in the process of identifying who these people are in the context of our district. The district will proceed with opening the Expanded Learning Child Care Program on October the 12th. The YMCA of Greater Long Beach and the Action Youth Authority, or AYA, are license exempt as long as no child receives child care for more than 30 hours a week. The staff hours are from 7:30 to 2:30, and the student hours are from 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock. The program will begin this Monday, October the 12th, for students. The YMCA and AYA will participate in district-required training on our campuses. The YMCA and AYA will also participate in district requirements on October the 5th and the 6th, and it includes the district requiring training to also visit their school sites. The After-School Education and Safety, which is ACES, grant is the funding source for these programs. Students qualifying for this program must participate in the free and reduced lunch program. Priority placement was given to students experiencing homelessness and foster care. Each school will leave 2 classrooms serving 12 students each. The grade spans are 1st, 3rd, and 4th through 6th. Since TK and K are on a different bell schedule, we currently do not have enough staff to accommodate these grade levels. There is 1 teacher assigned to each classroom and 1 site coordinator. All students are eligible for the breakfast lunch program, which will be served on campus and supervised by the YMCA and AYA staff. The YMCA will be located at the following elementary schools. They include Aloha, Burbank, Ferguson, Juarez, Melbourne, Nemus, and Palms. The AYA will be located at Hawaiian and Willow Elementary Schools. We are still seeking a waiver to offer the ABC Child Care Program, and we are not licensed exempt as a child care provider, and by law, a waiver is required. We do not have an estimated start date for this program as it is dependent on the waiver approval process. Once approved, the hours of operation will be consistent with the ACES and Extra program. The ABC Child Care Program will be staffed by our own EDP teachers and paraeducators who have been temporarily assigned as additional support staff at our elementary schools. Finally, we are working on potential dates for initiating in-person or hybrid instruction as described in the local continuity and attendance plan. Pending approval from the Los Angeles County Office of Public Health and the ABC Board of Education, the hybrid model may begin in late January. Public health officials will determine when schools and school districts in Los Angeles County can reopen in person. Families will have the option to have students return to in-person instruction through the hybrid model or continue online through the ABC Virtual Academy. The district will share more information with the communities that we serve as we move forward with planning. This concludes my report, President Rios.
Thank you. At this time, we will move on to employee representative reports. I see Ray, so ABCFT President, Mr. Ray Gear.
Great. Good evening, President Dr. Rios, School Board Trustees, Superintendent Dr. Sue, Administrative Cabinet, teachers, nurses, students, and of course the ABC community members. My name is Ray Gear and I'm President of the ABC Federation of Teachers. I am very pleased to hear what Dr. Sue said tonight, that pending board approval of looking at opening schools for hybrid in January. And I appreciate the district taking the time to really assess what's needed for us to be prepared for the safety of our students, for the safety of the employees, and really for just to make the most of the time we have together with our students for curriculum. I just think that's vitally important. I know that as a school district, the district is working with the school sites to really double down on what we're doing virtually. And what I mean by doubling down is we're looking at each site providing additional hardware to improve a dual screen presentation, how you present as a teacher. You would think you would just need one screen, but you actually need 2 screens. You need one screen to do your presentation, and you need another screen to monitor the students so that you're looking at their faces, or you can see if they raise their hand, you get feedback. And so I think it's great that the school district and the schools are looking at investing either in additional monitors, laptops, iPads, whatever teachers need to make sure that they're able to see that the students are engaged. And so I applaud that and appreciate that. I think that we should double down. And one of the things we could probably do, and I'm gonna lobby for this, and I hope that teachers will lobby across the district. I think our students need headphones with a microphone. I think it's just vital. I know some school sites have already done this, but I think this should be a universal practice in ABC. Students should be able to attend school with fewer interruptions, being distracted by vacuums and garbage disposals and conversations and things that are happening in the background. Or if you have multiple students in one home at different grade levels or even same grade levels, but you have competing teachers' voices and competing kids, that would, with headphones, you could isolate the sounds, and so kids will be less distracted by hearing what's happening in Mrs. Smith's class when the kids should be, focused on the lesson at hand. I just think that's, that will help to keep our students engaged, and their classmates will be engaged because the classmates will actually be able to hear what they're saying, and they'll be less distracted by the things that are happening, and they might have better interactions in the classroom. Those teachers we've talked to that if their students have headphones, they've noticed there's increased interaction and the students are less distracted. So that's something that I hope we push for as a district. I know that every school site in ABC is preparing for getting ready for in-person hybrid. And each site is working on a COVID compliance team. They're all the stakeholders and of every school, they're working on these COVID plans. They're looking at logistics. They're looking at everything from when the student either gets dropped off or walks on campus to what they do, the protocols they follow, walking around campus, what happens when someone has a temperature. All these logistics and protocols need to be worked out. And so you have COVID compliance teams at each site that are working on this. They're organizing office spaces, where our where nurses are, a sick bay. We have to have every school, because of the state plan, has to have a sick bay. And, how do you organize your classrooms? So I know the district's working really hard right now to clear classrooms so that they have the appropriate number of desks and the appropriate PPE and cleaning supplies. So everything from teaching to cleaning is being worked on right now in ABC. And this is not stuff that can happen overnight. You're talking about a very large project that we want to do our best in ABC for our students and make sure that when we do start with hybrid instruction, that we've figured out a lot of the issues that will pop up before they do. And so we're going to be looking at other school districts, making sure that any good ideas that are out there or practices that are working with students or safety, that we need to implement those here in ABC. And so I applaud the school district for taking the time to do this right. The month of October is very crucial for teachers. We're in the middle of assessing for the first round of progress reports. Teachers, like I said before, are in their flow. They have a flow of learning in their classroom, and this is a great time for them to just focus on getting as much curriculum as they can done without the disruptions. So thank you, Dr. Sue, for throwing out those dates today. It is appreciated. Thank you, and talk to you soon.
Madam President, it's Mrs. Mendoza.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Ray. I do, I like your proposal, and I think that we need to direct our staff to consider that, because as you mentioned, we know that headphones, and even maybe we can start with board members, putting them into use. But thank you for your presentation and for your request. I think that we can discuss, and I think if, we could just all say that we agree that it could probably be very beneficial to student engagement and learning. Board Member
Thank you, Dr.
Mendoza.
Rios.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I did bring up the issue of headphones in a previous board meeting. I think Dr. Collins Sprigg was there, and I did ask if students could get headphones, because that was one of the challenges of having multiple students in a household trying to listen to their teacher. So I don't know if Mr. Nguyen or Dr. Sue can follow up with that or give us some information regarding why we didn't have headphones passed out to students.
I will follow up with it.
Thank you.
Board Member Mendoza.
Okay, at this time, we will move on to public comments. Board Clerk.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Persons wishing to address the board should provide public comments during the public comment section via the following method: myabcusd.org/board meeting, and use the link or phone number to participate in the Zoom meeting. If using Zoom, please use the raise your hand feature during the public comments portion of the agenda or during the public comments time after an agenda item. If using the phone, please use *9 to raise your hand during the public comments portion of the agenda or during the public comments time after an agenda item. Then use *6 to unmute yourself when you are called on to speak. Comments will be presented during the public comment section, which is limited to 1 hour, and each speaker to one presentation of 5 minutes, unless the board wishes to waive the time limit. Those who have a group concern are encouraged to select a spokesperson to address the board. Comments submitted regarding a specific agenda item will be presented following the staff comments and prior to the board's discussion and taking action. Adverse remarks about a person's race, ancestry, ethnic group, identification, religion, color, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, gender, mental or physical handicap, or age may not be made. Concerns presented to the board will be followed up and addressed by the appropriate staff. And Scott Smith, are you there? We have a couple public comments. And the first public comments is with the phone number ending in 823. Are you there? Please unmute yourself and state your name, please. You have 5 minutes.
Good evening, board members. I am Michael Eugenio, resident of Artesia and a parent of a child with special needs at Cerritos High School. I want to commend this board for taking action and strengthening your policies on sexual harassment. Although you are moving forward, I urge you to also review past cases and allegations. I have listened to public comments from your last meetings, and speakers are still reporting that there has been no action or follow-up to the victims. Recently, a parent approached me about her own personal story of her daughter that was sexually harassed. I spent over an hour listening to her frustrations. I am sharing this with you so that we can all learn from this and do better. 1, her daughter was groped by a boy at Cerritos High, and the incident was reported to an administrator at the school. 2, after the daughter filed a claim, friends of the boy started taunting and threatening the daughter. They called her the B word, put gum in her hair, and even had other girls wanting to fight with her, all because she reported the incident to the office. 3, the daughter started to go into depression and did not want to go to school anymore. She was failing in her classes. In fact, the daughter stated that she even regretted making a complaint. 4, an administrator at Cerritos High even stated, "What happened to your daughter is not considered sexual assault." Why are administrators making that decision? 5, the mother called the district's main office numerous times, asking to speak to someone about her daughter's incident. Each time a message was taken, but no response was received. If the mother is not getting a call back, then I can't even imagine what is happening with calls received on the district's safety tip hotline to report bullying and sexual abuse. 6, in the end, her daughter ended up transferring to Artesia High, and thankfully she is thriving. But why does the daughter have to give up her friends in school to escape the perpetrator when Cerritos is her home school? In fact, the boy was a transfer student to Cerritos High, so it's not even his home school. I'm a parent. I want better for my child and for everyone's child. They deserve better, and I know this board wants better. This is happening to a student that can speak. If this is happening to a student that can speak up for him or for herself and makes a report, then what about those kids that cannot speak for themselves, such as my daughter? Who will protect her? Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. So we have the next speaker, Alex Alcantar. Alex Alcantar, are you there? Alex Alcantar,
Sorry,
can
can
you
you
unmute
hear me now?
yourself? Yes, we can hear you now.
I apologize. I was having issues with my audio.
Okay,
Uh,
go ahead.
Thank you and good evening, board. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I spoke last week about my support for a diversity and equity officer at the district level, and I wanted to follow up on that point and mention a couple of other things. One is that I feel that the most effective and consistent way to address issues of equity and diversity, whether that's racism, sexual harassment, social unrest, issues of equal access to technology or educational resources, is at the district level. I think another key aspect to these issues are that parents are integral to the effective education of our children. I think we're seeing that here tonight, and that continues to be demonstrated time and time again. And I think the best way to do that, again, is at the district level. My understanding is that there was a equity institute that was put on by the district, I believe in 2018. And you may recall that I was part of the selection committee for diversity and equity vendor for training at Whitney High School. A big part of why we selected that vendor was because of the success of that equity institute that was done previously with ABC kids. It's proven a success time and time again. I wanted to just reiterate my support for the position and the policy and the procedure. And I think a lot of the issues that face the district in recent months, and hopefully not in future months, but will be directly impacted by the implementation of a diversity and equity officer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Dana Williams. Dana Williams, please unmute yourself. And you have 5 minutes.
Okay, most of you know who I am already, and if you don't know, you weren't paying attention. I have been at every single board meeting for the last 3 months asking that you give justice to the students who have been victims of sexual misconduct in your school district. Last meeting, you finally addressed your policies regarding these cases, but your work is not done there. We are still demanding that you review cases and administer proper repercussions for each case. You've actively denied the trauma of your students for months now. You've read all the public comments. You know what these poor children have been through. Are you not hurt by all the things that you've heard? I've made my comments, and once you decided that I was saying too much, you decided that I needed to talk to someone from child wellness and attendance. Instead of reviewing my case, others, you decided that I need a counselor. Help myself and others receive justice that we've been asking for. While I would love to receive justice, you are still actively denying other students of their stories legitimacy. I hope you can see the problem in the way that you have handled this situation. Soon we will be due to take the streets and or contact local news about your negligence. As I've stated before, it's not your responsibility to handle these cases, but your schools have failed very poorly. Now that responsibility falls on you. I can agree with you on one thing though. You don't have the ability to change the past, but you have the power to change the future. As of now, you have not taken the right steps. We're asking for justice, not counselors and
Can't hear anything.
Yeah, we cannot hear you anymore, Diana.
Dana, I think you muted yourself.
Yeah, that was the end of it. Okay, thank you. Next, we have Kristen Bates.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kirsten. I'm an alumni of the district, having spent 12 years in its schools. Looking at where the district is now, I'm proud of its growth since my time there. This is why I encourage you to push further in improving our schools through social justice. A task force is imperative, but also an equity plan that supports historically underserved students in our community is important. A starting point can be seen in the Linwood School District's equity plan. In addition, I think it's important for ethnic studies to be taught on all levels. There are texts available that teach this subject matter appropriately. In my experience, I took ethnic studies classes in university and learned things that not only improved my education, but helped me understand the world in which we live. It is my hope that there could be a culture where issues of race, gender, and socioeconomic status can be brought up, heard, and embraced to create a more equitable environment in our schools. It is the duty of the educational system, as I would like to remind you, to raise the people who are newest to the world, and within the system lies an ethical code to teach the ways of the world objectively and not what is convenient. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have phone number ending 441. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Cerise Rotondo. I am ABCUSD alumni, Filipina, and first-generation student. Today, I am here to stress the importance of a safe environment for our kids. Over the past few months, the board has been made aware of the discrimination and inequality students face on a daily within this very district. From hundreds of courageous survivors speaking their truths on sexual harassment to various students and community members speaking on first-hand experiences on racism and equity, these two very important issues have failed to be properly addressed by the board time and time again. As elected officials, there is always more you could do. You could provide more resources to help our underserved students succeed. You could provide adequate education on sexual harassment. You could provide free SAT prep to promote higher education. You could conduct youth truth surveys to directly attend to our kids and specifically see where gaps need to be filled. You could hold perpetrators and students accountable for sexual misconduct and racism exerted on our children. You are in the very position you are in to stand for our kids and to promote and to protect our kids. But when countless students have come forward with their experiences, it is evident that you, the board, are simply not doing enough. As board members, you have the power to change the narrative for countless students. You have the power to positively impact their futures. You have the power to promote a safe and equitable environment. So I ask, why don't you? You say you stand for safety and zero tolerance on sexual harassment and racial issues, but when will your words be reflected in our schools? As students and alumni, we've experienced the polar end. What we need and what future students need is serious action from the board, not empty words. Sexual harassment should never be tolerated. Microaggressions and any form of racism should never be tolerated. Your lack of action is complicit. You must make concrete sexual harassment policy changes, and you must invest in an equity officer. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Emily Chen. Emily?
Good
Thank you.
evening. Hi. Good evening, board members and superintendent. Tonight, we heard people speak about various equity topics. What is abundantly clear is that this community is very passionate about seeing equity in all the schools within this district and not alone in Whitney High School. A group of us had a candid discussion about equity issues at particular schools and examined an equity plan that was implemented at a school district. And we touched upon several concepts such as assimilation, acculturation, Many of the public comments tonight are based on the actual plan and also from the discussion that ensued with a local educator who consulted on the equity plan. Recently, I discussed with the Teachers Union President, Ray Gare, with other group members present, like Megan Mitchell, Gail Bosfield, Cerise Rotondo, Alex Alcantar, the need for teacher diversity in hiring staff practices, more positive behavioral intervention support, and parent staff implicit bias training. And we thank Ray Gare for his candid responses and insight in these areas. And I agree with Ray that social justice issues are community issues, and thereby we need parents engaged in the discussions and trainings. It isn't enough for these topics to occur within the schools with students and teachers. We are hoping for this district to seriously consider providing virtual parent education series on talking about culture and race with children. And we've also requested information from the district, including the suspension data for the harassment cases for the purposes of examining this issue from a data-driven approach. Although there are competing school issues right now, let us not forget the bravery and voices of the youth who led the march back in June 2020, asking for changes in this school district. They wanted to see changes in the curriculum, the ethnic studies curriculum, changes in the hiring practices of teachers and senior positions within this district. And we had several students tonight and Gen Up group from the previous board meeting speak up, and they asked for an equity officer as well to represent their needs. We owe it to them to transform their school climate by providing the supportive services that other school districts like Los Alamitos, LAUSD, and Lowwood have already done for that because they have equity departments. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. That is the end of board report. Madam President, back to you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, we will move on to consent calendar. May I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved, Sue.
Second, Mendoza.
Is there anyone who wishes to remove an item to be considered separately?
Yes, I'd like to.
Sorry, go ahead, Ernie.
Sorry, Madam President, I'd like to pull item 3.1C.
Anybody else?
Yes, Madam President, just a comment on 1.1C.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, at this time, let's go ahead and have a discussion. Do you want to begin, Board Member Nishi, item 3.1C?
Sure. Well, I commend this is item 3.1C, item 3, service by Jonathan Mooney to provide representation on neurodiversity, ableism, intersectional. Is this just one presentation that they're going to get for $1,000?
Yes, there's a presentation to their student body that's being sponsored by their ASB.
Okay, so just one though.
Yes.
What is neurodiversity?
So neurodiversity acknowledges that our brains are function differently. So it's to recognize that we learn differently, we have different learning traits, and that just because they're different, it doesn't mean that one should be diminished or considered damaged or insufficient, but just acknowledging that how our brains are wired and how we learn is different.
Sounds like a really good item. So thank you. Thank you for answering my questions.
Okay, item 1.1C, Board Member Mendoza.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to let the community know that the district is recognizing Red Ribbon Week with our resolution 2026. National Red Ribbon campaign will be celebrated in every community in America during Red Ribbon Week, which is August 23rd to the 31st of this year. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, if nobody else, anything else to add, roll call, please.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Law, Mr. Law, Mrs. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios,
Yes.
Mrs. Beck,
Yes.
Mrs. Yu.
Yes.
The motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. This time we'll move on to action items. Item 1.2-A, may I have a motion to approve community members and student appointments to board advisory committees?
So move, Mendoza.
Ernie, second.
Okay, at this, any public comments on this? Well, actually, let me call on board members to introduce the members before we take a vote. So I am going to call on board member Say first to introduce her person.
Yes. Oh, yes. Thank you, President. It is my honor to introduce my new committee for this new one we just designed it, and for the public needs, and also based on our the past. So I have this privilege to have this person. When I find which is his name is Jonathan Cruz. When I find out the fourth thing that he will come to contribute to our board, number one, he's part of the ABC. Number two, he has a daughter at fourth grade in our Leo Elementary School. Number three has been his role in Leo Cultural Awareness Committee. He was so much involved. He was instrumental in bringing a diverse cultural information and experience to our community. Number four, Jonathan is a member of the Racial Justice Committee of the LA County Public Defender Office. I have Jonathan's here. I would like to give him a 5 minutes to talk about himself. Thank you, President. Jonathan, are you here? Mr. Cruz.
Yes, thank you.
Go ahead, the floor is yours now.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Trustee C, for entrusting me with this important appointment. As mentioned, I am a product of 13 years of ABC Unified School District education. I attended Carver for primary school and Whitney for the rest. After that, I went to UC Santa Barbara and got a BA in sociology, where my focus was on deviant behavior and Black and white relations. And I got my JD from Loyola in LA, and I work as an indigent defense attorney. My career right now is dedicated to speaking up for those whose voices are often unheard. I'm also a parent, as previously mentioned, of an elementary school student, and next year I'm going to have 2 in the district. So I'm very connected to this community. And the idea behind this committee of equity, unity, and diversity is really important to me. I'm the chair of Leo PTA's Cultural Awareness Committee. I'm on the Diversity and Inclusion Committee of the Whitney Foundation, and I'm part of the Racial Justice Committee at work, as mentioned. And so for me, equity in public education means providing the students with what they need to thrive. And I think it's fair to say, based on when you look across the district at all of the different achievement or lack thereof, that not all of the students in the ABC school district can be described as thriving. And right now we have the opportunity to fix that. After the last big social movement, a small school district saw some gaps in achievement and decided that they needed to make some changes. They invested in the community and brought the community together so that they could interview families and identify challenges confronting the different communities that they serve. And that district brought specialists in to plan a multifaceted approach to work through and around those challenges. This included curriculum changes and professional development for teachers. Policies and goals changed too. It turned out fantastic. The teachers knew what challenges their students faced and worked on addressing them until those challenges were overcome. The teachers learned how their students learned, how to teach them, and they figured out how to make the curriculum relevant to their students' lives so that they were motivated. The achievement gap closed as the students' academic and social needs were met on individual levels across the district. All students graduated with emotional intelligence and the foundation to succeed in the pursuit of any opportunity in the future. That's the ABC Unified School District 5 to 13 years from now. We could be doing this with this committee and with what we bring to school now that we've recognized that there are clearly some inequities, some that we can see, some that we've heard about, and others that we haven't even identified yet. Matthew and Yvette, who reported earlier from Tracy, said they weren't succeeding at their respective schools, and they're thriving now, which is amazing, and I'm so happy for them. We need to provide a district culture that creates that environment for all of our students with no stigma associated to any particular school. And to have a shot at realizing this future, we're going to need to come together as a community and acknowledge that the public education provided in this district is not meeting everyone's needs. We need to make some changes and mistakes as we strive for excellence and not perfection. I look forward to working with all of you, and thank you very much again for this opportunity.
Thank you, President. Thank you, Jonathan, to join with us.
You're muted.
I had not heard that in a while. Okay, today seems to be the day. Let me see, the next person that was going to introduce, we have Board Member Nishi.
Thank you, Madam President. So this person we all know, actually, we've seen her present here for many, many years as the District Council PTA President. She's been very successful in getting a lot of things done, and that's the key thing for this particular committee. We need somebody who's going to not just talk about getting things done. We need somebody who's actually going to get things done. This is the person that can do it. I have a lot of faith in her. I mean, I looked at her college. She's got a Master of Arts in Education. She's part of many different committees. She's part of the mental health group, the Los Angeles Metropolitan Regional Social, Cultural Unity and Diversity Team, the National Council of Negro Women. I mean, the list goes on. We can go hours. We don't have time to hear all her qualifications. I just know that she's the right person for this job to get things done. So without further ado, I'm going to pass you off to Ms. Bosfield to say whatever else she'd like to say on this platform for a little while.
Thank you, Mr. Nishi. Thank you, Superintendent Dr. Sue and cabinet members. I look forward to continuing to build inclusive practices that will directly benefit the students of ABC. This is my passion, and I am extremely excited to work with all of the board members, the parents, and especially the students. So thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both for your willingness to serve. We know that, volunteering for such positions requires a lot. I'd like to take a minute to introduce the person that I nominated for the committee. You probably would recognize her. Most recently, she served on our School of Choice Committee and was instrumental in putting that video together that we got to see at the end of the last school year. Her name is Elizabeth Martinez. She is a proud parent of 2 boys, one who is currently attending Cerritos High School, and a Cerritos graduate who is attending Humboldt State, sorry. She's also been a teacher for 20 years in both elementary and middle schools, and is currently a reading specialist for 4th and 5th grade. And she really wants to serve on this committee because of the real consequences that our students and communities face from lack of medical care, death, to not feeling a part of the school community or facing microaggression from school personnel. So I think she'll be a strong voice for this committee and represents a variety of aspects, and I think will bring a lot of knowledge. So thank you. And with that, we will move on.
Maybe take a vote?
Yeah, any public comments on this section?
Madam President, there is no public comments.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Law, Mrs. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios,
Yes.
Mrs. Say,
Yes.
Mrs. Yu.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Item 1.3-A, application for K-12 Strong Workforce Program. May I have a motion to approve submission of application to the California Community College Chancellor's Office for the 2020 K-12 Strong Workforce Program Grant?
So moved by Sophia.
Second, Mendoza.
Second, Sue.
Any public comments?
There's no public comments, Madam President.
Thank you. Discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. La, Mrs. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios,
Yes.
Mrs. Say,
Yes.
Mrs. Yu.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Next item is 1.4-A. May I have a motion to approve Resolution 2028 National Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th, 2020, celebrating the histories, cultures, and contributions of American citizens whose ancestors come from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America.
So moved.
So moved. Sue.
Second by Sophia.
Public comments?
There is none, Madam President.
Okay, roll call, please.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. La,
Yes.
Mrs. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios,
Yes.
Mrs. Say,
Yes.
Mrs. Yu.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Item 3.7-A, may I have a motion to approve request to contract with Moving Minds to provide enrichment for the migrant education Saturday school program at Nemes, Melbourne, and Hawaiian elementary schools for the 2020-2021 school year.
So moved, Mendoza.
Second, Apodaca.
Any public comments? I'm gonna check my list.
There's none, Madam
Discussion?
President.
Okay, roll call, please.
Actually, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
They don't have that for Ferguson and Aloha because they don't have migrant education over at those locations. Is that correct?
These are migrant education locations, and they have students from other schools at those locations. So it could be a combined program.
Okay, so that's why it's not over there as well.
For their
What are the qualifications for program Moving Minds? Do they have like degrees and things like that? What are they? Yeah.
So it's an arts program, and I don't know the qualification of the staff, but it is a digital art program. They have been working with other migrant programs throughout LA County. Typically, that's how we get the referrals. They'll be providing workshops for our students as part of our enrichment program. And students have received supplies and kits so that they can engage in learning from home.
And this goes with the curriculum, right? So they're both linked together, the art and the
yeah, it's enrichment. And so we try to have Saturday enrichment for our students that include the arts, STEM, education, as well as coding that you saw earlier as a board item. So it varies as a way of keeping kids engaged because they are in school academically on Saturdays for language arts and math. And so we want to have a way to give them an incentive to come to school, be engaged, be excited about being at school on Saturday for about 4 hours.
Okay, and it was, oh wow, it's 4 hours. That's pretty good. That's a good long time. Was there a bidding process with this?
No, we're not required to go out to bid for these items.
Okay, thank you.
Madam President, comment?
Board Member Mendoza, go ahead.
Thank you. Dr. Mayfield, is this the first time we're using Moving Minds?
This is our first time using this particular company for our arts program.
Okay, I really liked, I like that you said that they're using the arts because I like your comment that our kids are already going to school Monday through Friday. We're asking them to go to school on Saturday. So having something that's outside of academics, it's still learning, but it's fun. It's engaging. It's challenging because we're doing it virtually. So I really like that our students are getting this. I would love to attend. I don't know if I can get access to the Zoom link or something, but I think this is great. I think for our kids to do something that's out of, what we call normal now is really exciting for them. And I know they picked up supplies because I saw them picking up supplies over here at Nemes. So I know they're getting ready to do this. So I'm really looking forward to see what they're doing. Thank you.
Absolutely, I'll send you a link.
Okay, roll call, please.
Wait, one last question. So
Go ahead.
is this retroactive or ratification of a contract or?
No, so the students are picking up supplies for various programs. Migrant Ed has been operating since September, and so some of their materials they've already picked up, and for this they'll be picking up additional supplies.
Got it, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, roll call, please.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. La,
Yes.
Mrs. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios,
Yes.
Mrs. Say,
Yes.
Mrs. Yu.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll move to a public hearing, item 3.8-A. May I have a motion to open a public hearing and adopt resolution 2029 for textbook and instructional materials compliance and approve certification of provision of standards to align instructional materials with Education Code 60119, grades K-12, fiscal year 2021.
So moved.
Second, Mendoza.
Any public comments?
There's none, Madam President.
Discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. La,
Yes.
Mrs. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios,
Yes.
Mrs. Say,
Yes.
Mrs. Yu.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay. This closes public hearing. Okay, at this time, we'll move on to board member reports, and I will continue with the reverse calling item this time. So we will go to
Unbelievable.
board member Say.
28.
Wow, you go backwards. Thank you. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't shocked.
That was a request.
You say I must behave.
You.
Well, first of all, thank you, President Rios. Last Friday, I was so busy. Actually, we went to the Montebello help our Assemblywoman 58 district, Ms. Garcia, helping her passing some food and backpack and some other children needs. I was so glad I was there because when we were told that they will give her some backpack to our school district, even though we know we already give away a lot, but there's still some students that need some backpack. So board member Mr. Nishi and I, we went to pick it up when we're there. And we also stay there to serve and help Ms. Garcia. Nothing else. And we just there strictly just volunteer helping them. And they were so busy, the car just keep coming, even though I don't even know the temperatures, but I know I was hot. But so glad to be there. And thank you to Assemblywoman Ms. Garcia donate a backpack to our district student. Thank you. That'll be my end report, President Rios.
Thank you, board member Nishi.
Yes, so I'm a little disappointed that the governor had vetoed the ethnic studies because we had been working on trying to get a really good ethnic studies program approved that would be inclusive of everything that's out there. But saying that, looks like we're already starting to do that process. We don't need the state government to tell us what to do. Cerritos is already going to have the presentation. We're already going to have something from Whitney. We have Hispanic Heritage Month, where I'm hoping it's more than just a res. Some of the schools go through some of the details, and I know that Leal is starting to do that a lot more. What I'm saying is that we don't need the governor. We can do it ourselves. Artesia's already doing an ethnic studies program, and I think they're becoming richer because of it. And actually, there's a lot of students already doing, a lot of them are coming from Whitney to learn about other cultures and broaden our minds. And I think all of these things are positive. And even during the worst of this pandemic that we have, where we have unusual situations, we're still trying to and do well academically and also as a person. So that's it. Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Next, we have Board Member Long. Okay, Dr. Apodaca.
Nothing from me, Madam President.
Board Clerk Yu.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. First of all, it's unbelievable. It's only 8:10 p.m. and we're at the end. So thank you, Madam President. I was just really inspired by the Tracy High School students sharing. When something like that, when you hear something like that, it's so inspiring, really. And it is a little different because it's a smaller school. And it just shows how our students need so much support from home, from different church communities, even neighborhood community, aunts and uncles, extended family. They need to have that relationship with an adult. And of course, I want to commend all of our educators who are already doing that, but there are many, many students and teachers cannot get to them all. It's just a collective effort that all of us can try to do a little bit here and there, starting at our own homes and to our, children's friends. I just heard from another parent who's a very active PTA member, and she was just sharing how, her kids are doing good at home, but she feels there's so much mental health need when she look at her friends, her son's friends, who are, on the computer all day long, and I encouraged her, you and your sons can be a blessing to the other kids. So I think that this is where we can, extend our hands and reach out to our neighbors. And on that note, I know that we have an upcoming college fair. It's not on our announcement, but what date was it, Dr. Sue? That was a 14th or something during the week on a Wednesday. That was pretty clever to do it on Wednesday because kids have, no classes during that day, right?
It is on October the 14th on Wednesday,
Yes.
from 9 to 12.
Yes. So I want to encourage all of our community members, including middle school and high school. You'll just get a lot of information. And since it's virtual, there's no overflow because every time when we have it at, Whitney or different high schools, it just gets packed. You can't even put your foot in there. But since it's virtual, just want to encourage all of you guys to attend this with your children. It will be very, very helpful and resourceful for you. Thank you. That is the end of my report, Madam President.
You need to unmute yourself, Dr. Rios. You want me to go ahead? Okay, thank you, Dr. Rios. During these times, we don't get to attend a lot of events, but I did get to attend the Artesia International Celebration Caravan, where we got to decorate our cars with our culture, and we drove around the city, so that was lots of fun. On behalf of the district, I was honored to present Cerritos College a proclamation to Dr. Fierro for their 65th birthday, their anniversary, so that was lots of fun. I know we just talked about college, and I know this month is College Awareness Month, so I'm going to ask the board and staff that if at our next meeting, if we could wear our college t-shirts just to, promote College Awareness Month. I think that would be great. We all have it from last time. I also want to say, during this month, we celebrate a lot of things. We just did World Teachers Day. We have Filipino American History Month. And I would ask the board if you would, possibly put a resolution for next meeting consent item, and I'll just discuss it because I think with the talk of diversity and moving forward, I think we really need to recognize all the different cultures that are represented within our district. So if we could, Dr. Sue, if that's a possibility to put it.
It's already on the agenda for the next board meeting on the 20th.
Thank you, Dr. Sue. I am wearing pink today because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we want to make sure we bring some awareness to that because it affects so many of our families. Census, we still need our families to fill out their census forms. And I just want to remind our parents that we do have the lunch program. So please, please, please stop on by our schools, pick up a lunch for your students, for your kids. They are there and we have them and it's free. So please pick it up. This month is also National Bullying Prevention Month. And we also had National Principals Month. So thank all our administrators at our schools. And one that I love is National M&M Day because I love chocolate, I love candy. So with that, I just want to say thank you to everyone for all the work that they're doing. I know Clerk Sue was saying that, you know, there's still need. We're going through this virtual, this new, how did our board representative student said, normalize the abnormal. And as we go along, we're going to find, you know, some needs there. Like Ray Gare said that we need headphones. Another need that I see a lot of our students is desks. So I'm gonna put the challenge out there that if we have any organizations, anyone who can help us, because we do have students who are doing virtual learning on the sofa, on a coffee table. They're in the kitchen, you know, they're sharing the bed and sitting with their iPads and their laptops. So some of our students need a small desk to work at. So I don't know if there's an organization that can reach out. We can reach out to and maybe get a couple of desks that they can utilize just for this virtual learning time. And with that, I will see you all at our next board meeting. Madam President, that ends my board report.
Thank you. And for some reason, I keep forgetting to unmute, so my apologies. Okay. Well, before I do my report, I want to, or part of my report is more of a statement, because for the past few meetings, we have had other issues. But I would like to make a motion to place, putting an equity officer on the, make a motion to place the equity officer on the agenda for, as an informational item for our next meeting. I first made this request back in July and August, but again, our meetings have taken on and gotten so long that I think by the end, we're just ready to be done. But I did not make it a motion then, so that's why I'm doing it now. I would like to request the support of the board on this item. I think that we have the option to let the committee take the lead, but in reflecting, I really think that as a governing board, it's our responsibility to move this issue forward of bringing about true diversity, equity, and unity to our district, because we have that opportunity now. So again, I make a motion that we place an equity officer on the next agenda as the informational item.
I'll be the second.
Can I have a roll call, please?
We don't need to vote on this because it will be agendized for the October 20th board meeting.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Just by your
The other thing that I wanted to discuss is that I made also a request for a special meeting to review LCAP. And I know that right now we're in different times, but we have been receiving those, I don't know if Tuan's still on here. I think the last number was like $18 million for LCAP. And now we have all this added money to close achievement gaps. And so I really want to know, one, if that meeting has been scheduled, because what I'd like for that meeting is to highlight the status of our students of color, particularly highlight the achievement of our African-American students and our Latino students. And in particular, how these students of color are performing in Title I schools, where these students are overrepresented. I don't think the burden of proof for an equity officer should be put on board members or our community. I think that it's on our district to let us know whether we have issues of equity and how we can improve those. And I want that to be done with data. I know we don't have data for last year, but LCAP has been in place for several years now. And I know that we can at least look at 3 years worth of student achievement and improvement. And such areas as ELA, math, and PBIS, because again, it's us that are responsible for the achievement or lack of for our students. I know we're doing better as a district, and I know when we look at data, we get excited and we celebrate, but I want to remind our board members that, you know, a lot of this data includes students from our Blue Ribbon schools. It includes data from Whitney High School. And these are schools that I, in looking at the numbers, I know that our Latino and African-American students are highly underrepresented. So I want to look at data that applies to these students, not only because they make up the majority of students that are to be served in our underrepresented groups like EL, English learners, low income and homeless and foster, but because again, those are areas that would highlight, again, issues of equity or not. It was great that Tracy presented today, how appropriate, because it reminded us that every child can succeed with the right support. And we need people like Yvette and Matthew to make our schools great, our community great, our country great, and our world just a better place. That ends my report. So in answer to my question, Dr. Sue, has that meeting been scheduled?
The special study session, we're going to have to survey the board on their availability tomorrow.
Thank you. Okay, with that, it looks like, is it possible board members don't get too excited now that we might actually end before midnight? Okay, is there a second public comment section?
There is none, Madam President.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
There is one.
So moved, Apodaca.
What?
Said something?
Yeah.
Oh,
was
I'm
that-
sorry. There was one public comment.
Okay, can we hear it, please?
Okay, Carrot, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yes.
Okay, good evening, President Rios, board members, Superintendent Sue. It was good to hear the comments today. And thank you, President Rios, for what you stated, because you must have read my mind, that you don't need approval to create a position. I also have heard you board members collectively speak many, many times about student representation and student voice. So I am reinitiating the idea that you guys have proposed, but really failed to act on. How about a student board member on your board? A non-voting student. You can define the terms, how it works, but I think it would be good for you to have a student who is there on the board with you. My second point is this. I am a Democrat, but for the first time, I will be voting against Prop 15. And there are two reasons why. This is not the time to pass such a tax hike. When so many members in our community, state, and the country do not have work, we are compounding a terrible, terrible idea. Second point is this. The board has not made a convincing case of why we should pass Prop 15. What would we do with the additional funding if we got it? From the previous budgets that I've seen, most of it goes into salaries and benefits, but I fail to see a lot of direct connection for improved services for students directly. In future, I want to see revenue go towards students. Identified. Headphones, perfect example of what we should be doing. But we also need to do something better. I am asking you, the board, to ask the staff to disaggregate your budget and put it into different categories. I want to know what the cost is for education, i.e. instruction. How much do we spend specifically for emotional support? How much do we spend for special ed? How much do we spend for nutritional services? It is my contention that the state of California is underfunding schools and districts. And by mandating or morally obligating schools to provide such services without providing resources. In law, back when Prop 98 was passed, we get about 40% of the state budget. The demographics of 1988 is not the demographics by which we run our schools and districts. It's important that we factually state what we are spending so that we can truly advocate for the funds that we need to support our students and our staff. But you can't do it through willy-nilly, give us the money and we'll do it and we'll spend it wisely. Give me the data to advocate for this very, very passionately. You know, we just can't do all the things that we are expected to do. The special ed services that we need to provide cost far, far more than the state ever funds. And it comes at the expense of other students. Not that we should not support those students, but it's important that we tell the state how much more it costs. Mental health services, it's important to tell the state, we don't get those dollars. They go to the county offices, not the county office, but to the county in general. How do we leverage those funds to help our students where they need it most to learn? Because if they learn well, they will have a good job and a good future. And that's what we want, a successful outcome for all of our students. Please help me get a budget that we can work on that will advocate for why we need additional funds. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Carried. That is all, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. With that, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Apodaca.
Second, Mendoza.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Law, Mrs. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios,
Yes.
Mrs. Say, Mrs. Say,
Unmute.
I was gonna say, does she want to?
Yes.
Mrs. Yu.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, with that, have a wonderful night, everyone. Get a good night's rest. Looks like
Good night.
what an accomplishment.
Night.
Good job,
Good night, everybody.
Good job.
everyone.